Today we're at Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin with this, my 2003 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG. Now this car is fresh off the dyno where it just put down 460 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque to the rear tires. And today we're going to see what this car runs in the quarter mile, provided that it doesn't break, which could totally happen. In today's video, I'm going to be performing 3 tests on the E55 and 2 modifications in between runs to measure performance gains. Now there are a ton of variables to drag racing, and one of those variables I'm going to attempt to eliminate, and that would be traction. To aid in the traction department, I borrowed these. They're 16-inch CCW wheels wrapped in some 255 55 16 Mickey Thompson drag radials. Now they're about 3 or 4 years old, so they're a little hard, and I have a feeling I'm gonna have to put a lot of heat into these tires via a nice burnout. So I borrowed these from my friend Ian, so Ian, I'm sorry. Now the first test is the most obvious, and that's just simply running the E55 the exact same way that it came off the dyno, except for the rear tires. For test number 2, I'm gonna be installing a Race IQ ECU tune to see if that makes any difference in the quarter mile time. Now keep in mind this car currently has a Eurocharged tune. For test number 3, I'm going to add some ice into that underhood mounted tank and see if lowering the intake air temperatures with the ice actually makes the car go faster in the real world. I think my best time today is going to be an 11.8, so make sure to put your prediction down in the comment section below. I really don't have anything to give anyone this time around, but what's better than bragging rights in a YouTube video comment section? All right guys, I'm about to go for run number 1. The DA is 1900 and my intake air temp is 117. These passes are not going to be the fastest this car can do, but I really think that the ice is going to help when I put that in a little bit later. So let's see what the E55 does on run number 1. Run number 1 was absolutely horrible. This is my first time in this car. The burnout was bad. Everything was bad. I did a 1960 foot and it only ran a 12.5 at 112. I started the race off at like 120 intake air temp after the burnout, and I got up to 138. And then by the time I got back and I got the time slip, it was all the way back down to 117. So I know that's not really a stellar intake air temp to start with, and it's definitely not going to make for the best time, but it is what it is. That's what it did. So I'm going to run again, just like I just did. I'm not going to make any changes other than I'm going to try and launch it better. If I can get this 60 foot down to something decent, like a 1.6 or something, maybe I can run closer to a 12.0. But right now we're running basically what a stock E55 runs. So not good.
Mustang. To a 1476. Wow.
Sean, how do you go so fast? What is your trick? I want to be like you. This is Sean. Everybody's running 11.3 today, which is just awesome with 18s. All right, I got to ask you, are you stalling this thing up or are you just like punching it off of a dead idle? That's what I need to know.
Well, in the best times that I ran it, I brake torqued it.
Okay.
This last time I ran like a 1.6, what was it, a 1.63, and I just punched it.
So what do you think? I mean, I've been sort of like half-ass brake stalling it to like, I don't know, 1100 RPM. Should I just go off a dead idle and see if it'll...
Yeah, try
because I think it's hooked. The last one hooked. I just think it's just got nothing off the line. So, all right, I'm gonna try and be like Sean in this next run and run fast. My car's basically running like a stock E55, so we'll see what happens. Last run, it had the Race IQ tune in it, but this thing is so heat soaked now that this test really isn't all that conclusive. We got over 140 intake air temps on that run. It just feels very sluggish, but the good news is I did a 1.860 foot, which is a little bit better, and I just stabbed it right off idle. So I'm gonna go with that, and we are packing this thing full of ice right now, and I'm just gonna go for broke and just see what the fastest is that I can run with this car. That's all. That's my new mission right now, is just to go fast. So we're gonna load this thing up with as much ice as possible, and cross our fingers that we can run close to an 11. That would be awesome. Well guys, I have no idea what's going on. That was a 12.6 or something, 112 every time. My 60 foot keeps on getting better. I did a 1.7, but this thing just, the top, there's no top end. And that intake air temp, by the way, was awesome. It started off at 75 degrees with the ice, and I think it got up to like, I don't know, 105 at the end. I gotta check the logs, but either way, the one thing I did notice with the Race IQ Tune is that it went really rich, so I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm going back to the Eurocharged Tune, which was also rich, but not as rich, and we're gonna see if that helps out in the top end. And again, I'm gonna put the ice in there so we get those awesome intake air temperatures again, but kind of at a loss right now. I don't really know what's going on. This thing is just really slow. Whatever, this is racing, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I'm gonna wait to put the ice in until I get right up to the line. That's what I did last time, and yeah, we'll go for another run, see what happens, maybe another one after that, but if it continues to do 112 miles an hour, we're done for the day.
Driving the Mercedes. Little pick-em-up truck gets there first, and I can't tell you how fast either of them are going.
Seriously, I am no good at making predictions on this car. I was way off on the dyno, and I'm off again at the track. I never got my 1180, obviously. The best time was the one you just saw. 12.2 at 114. So it's a couple days later. I've had some time to kind of like digest what happened at the track and write down some information. The car's all cleaned up. I got the CCWs off. And check this out. I just got these in the mail. 275 4017 Mickey Thompson drag radials on some old SL wheels. Now these are slightly used, but in really good shape, and only $500 shipped. So I didn't think that was too bad. So what I did was I wrote down some log information on some of the time slips. There were a total of 7 runs that day, but obviously all those didn't make it into the video. What I wanted to do was share all this information with you all out there in hopes that you'll comment down below and let me know how you think the E55 performed. Was this abnormally slow for this type of car with its modifications, or considering the DA and the temperature, was this basically normal? So let's just get into it. First 2 runs, Eurocharged Tune exactly the same way it came off the dyno when it made 460 wheel horsepower, except obviously for the drag radials. And we went 12.5 and 12.4, both at 112 miles an hour. Intake air started off at 120 and went to 138. So getting up to 138, not too bad. But starting at 120, that just totally sucks. It's no good for these cars. It pulls a ton of timing. Next up, we put the Race IQ Tune in there. Left everything else the same. It got hotter outside, and we started intake air at 124, got up to 145, and we only went a 12.6 at 110. And the AFR was getting pretty rich. It was dipping into the high 9s by the end of the track. So on the next run, I utilized that ice tank. I packed it full of ice, and by the way, that thing works awesome. Intake air temp was only 82 starting off the run, and it got up to 106 at the end, and we ran a little bit better, 12.4 at 112 with a 1.7 60 foot. But again, the AFR was dipping pretty low. It was in like the bottom 10s at that point. I got a hold of Anthony at Race IQ, and he was actually going to just send me an updated file right then and there, which is really cool that he can do that right on the spot. The only problem was I was in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. I had no reception, so I really didn't have time to kind of mess around with that. So I just uploaded the Eurocharged Tune again, which was also pretty rich, but just not as bad. And we got our best time, 12.2 at 114, 1.7 60 foot again, starting off at 88. Intake air ending at 108. So the ice works really well. just to let you know, there were 2 other E55s there. They had a bunch of other mods done to their car, way more than this car, but they were off like 3 to 4 tenths of a second from their best time as well. So I don't know, maybe that 2000 DA did affect the car. It rained the night before. It was like 80, 85 degrees at the track and really sunny. So I don't know. What do you think? Please comment down below. Do you think this was abnormally slow, or do you think it was pretty normal? For all of you who don't know a lot about the E55, they run like a 12.4, 12.5 totally stock. So if you put a sticky tire on them, they can definitely dip into that low 12-second range without the headers and the tune that this car has. So just wanted to get all your opinions. It is ready for phase 2 of all the modifications. That's why it's on the rack. With that being said, if you're new and checking in for the first time, please consider subscribing. I do videos like the one you just saw, dyno videos, reviews, builds. Got a build obviously going on the E55, my 1,000 horsepower Trans Am, and then I got a $200 C43 AMG outside that I'm working on as well. So definitely check that stuff out. And to all my current subscribers, thank you so much for watching all the videos. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope that everybody out there has a great day, and I will see you all in the next video.